Can you hear me? Oops. Hello. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Oh, hello. How are you? Sorry.
I'm fine. How are you?
Yes, not too bad. Not too. The weather is still very bad in England. It's sort of
Seriously?
crazy weather. It's been raining now for 2 weeks every day, and
I hope the rain can come to Taiwan.
yes, maybe you need it as well, I think. But also we have hailstones. You know hailstones? The word hailstone. The
the
stone of rain, like the pebble of rain, not snow, but we call it hailstone. It's great. It's a great. Well, I'll put it into translate actually. Let me just get the screen up. It's a good word.
Like ice ball, right? Small ice ball.
Like an eye, yeah, exactly. And we call it hail, or we call it hailstones.
Oh, hailstone.
Hailstones, yeah, because it comes down as and they're being the size of marbles. So about sort of 1 centimeter wide.
Oh,
so
they can broken the window of the car.
Exactly. And it's very bad for plants if you have blossom or fruit
Yeah.
on the plant, because it can smash the fruit and the plants quite badly. So and I grow some fruit on my balcony. I grow some red currants, which are really lovely in a pot, and they might get they're a little damaged. When they're ripe in about 2 months, I will show you. I can show you.
You can make the jelly, right?
Yes, that's right. You can eat them with other things, with cakes. They're very, there's a great descriptive word, tart. It means two things, tart. Tart is an object, like a fruit tart. That is an object. You could say a jam tart or I don't know, strawberry.
So you don't say sour, you say tart.
Yes, exactly. It's like, you could say sour, but also it's a feeling that makes you go, when you eat it, you go, ooh. It's that, yeah. Yeah, it's a great, it's a great word, tart. And also you can, it's interesting, you can describe it, you can use it to describe people actually as well. If people are a bit sour or a bit sort of
critical.
Yeah, or even just their manner, their personality is a bit sharp.
Oh, okay.
You could say, oh, they're a bit tart. You know, it's a bit of a funny thing to say, but people would know you were meaning they're a bit sort of sour or something.
Tart is more useful in England, right?
Yes, exactly. Many uses. I mean, also there is a bad use of the word tart as well, which is which is like you could say it's an old word, but it's applied to women, but also sometimes men, of easy virtue, if you know what I mean. Easy virtue, like sort of I'll put easy virtue in. It's a great expression. People who have many boyfriends or girlfriends, shall I say?
Easy virtue.
Easy virtue, yeah. But also that can be, and you could say the person is a tart. You know, if you say
very tart.
Yeah, you could say it's a very old word in English, Old English. I think it dates from
really?
Shakespeare's time. Yeah,
that's really interesting.
If you said to someone, I mean, I used to know a girl who had many boyfriends. Literally, every time you'd meet her, she had a different boyfriend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she said about herself, "Oh, I'm a bit of a tart." And, I don't know the origins of the word. It's not a very nice expression. It's a bit of a bad expression, so I shouldn't be teaching you bad slang, bad words. But I think it's a
very useful word. I can tell my friends. That's
Yes, yes. If you've got a friend like that, you could say, "Oh, she's a bit of a tart," but you shouldn't say that. Or he's a bit of a tart as well. It applies to men as well. So
and she might not be able to know I'm teasing.
yes, exactly. It's a bit of a jokey thing. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You know, it's a bit of a jokey thing. Not too bad. But
Ah,
so today, so I haven't asked you, how are you today? Are you okay?
yeah,
How?
I'm doing fine.
Oh, great. Your life is good. You've had a good day.
Oh, yeah, I had a busy day.
Oh, okay. What were you doing today? You were working.
I running around, yes. I running
Okay.
around and doing lots of things, so I'm kind of busy.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's good. I met a friend today for coffee who I have not seen for 1 year. Who
Oh, that's nice because
yeah,
you already allowed to go out and eat at
exactly.
restaurant, right?
Yes, at last we went to a museum. A beautiful museum. It's all about health and the body, and it's called the Wellcome Collection, and it has really interesting, really very interesting exhibits. It's free, and it's called Wellcome. It's not. It's a different word from hello. Wellcome was a man called Sir Henry Wellcome. You can look at it online. It's a good. It's a good online museum as well. But the building is amazing. Sir
Oh,
Henry Wellcome in the 19th century, over 100 years ago, he made a lot of money from patent medicines. He sold medicines and made so many millions. And so he started to build a collection of objects to do with health and the body, and created a trust. And the collection is incredible. So many interesting things. And the museum is very welcoming. It's very interactive. Um, so you can interactive, yeah. It's very interactive. You go there and it's not just a case with objects. You can do things and listen to things and smell
oh,
things. And it's very, even they have things you can take away. They have like some recipe books, very old recipe books, and then they printed them so you can take a sheet of paper to write on, and it has the recipe from 200 years ago, and it's free.
oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah,
200 years ago, you can
yeah,
still
yeah,
use that recipe.
yeah. It's an interesting recipe. In fact, I had it in my. No, I can't grab it now, but I'll show you. But interestingly, and great things for children, and but very interactive. Even they have one thing in a room. They have a big, like a mirror, 3 mirrors, and then they have a table, and they give you paper, and you can draw yourself and say how you're feeling today, and then you can leave it on the board. So it's quite interesting to read. You
That's
know,
nice.
yeah, it's just a sort of quite interactive about, and it's very caring. And but they also have some fascinating, they have some frightening objects as well. They have a death mask. Do you know what a death mask is? It's
I don't know.
a death mask. Oops, I spelled it wrong, so I put 2 A's. Death
That's
mask.
musk.
Yeah, I tell you, it's very strange. They don't do it now, but in the past, when someone died who was famous, they would, after they were dead, they would put plaster on their face and
Oh,
make a casting of their face in death. And
okay.
sometimes if they were very famous, so they have the death mask of interesting person, Beethoven, the composer,
Yeah, Beethoven.
yeah, the very famous man, Austrian and German composer. They
I,
have the death mask of him, so it looks like his face in the
oh,
museum.
okay.
Yeah, in a case, and he looks like he's asleep. And but it was taken just after he died.
Oh,
So quite a real interactive museum. It's very good. I really like it. But it's worth looking at online. So today we're going to do a thing about traditions, and the cheese. The cheese rolling tradition is very strange, and I've got that one, but I've also got another tradition I'm going to show you as well, which I found, which is slightly more normal, which is Blessing of the Sea, and in Hastings, which is a very beautiful town on the coast. And I found some very old footage of this, but also I have a poem. It's my mother's favorite poem, in fact, and it's about the sea. And I thought we could maybe read that together at the end, because it's a very beautiful poem about the sea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's quite an easy poem to read, but it's very, very beautiful. It's about longing to be by the seaside, and how when you see the sea, the things it makes you feel. It's quite an old poem, but we'll start with the tree. We'll start with the cheese, because it's quite strange. It is, interestingly, with this cheese, it's quite dangerous to do this activity.
Yes.
And it's because where they roll the cheese, it's a very steep hill. It's a steep hill, and you know the word steep.
Yeah.
And I expect you know the word to describe the steepness is a gradient. It's a gradient. It's
gradient.
the angle of the hill, and most hills in England are sort of like that. This hill is almost like that. It's so steep. So when the people roll down the hill, they fall. They don't roll. They break their bones. So it's not good to do if you're older, but gradient's a great word. And we say like a gradient could be like 1 in 5, or it means like for the height and the angle, it's like a steep gradient. So steep is I think 1 in 1 is like it's sort of literally like that. And then it'd be 1 in 2, 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, so the gradient of the hill. So you measure the steepness of the hill in
okay,
yeah, I might have the gradients. I might have got the measurements round the other way, but I can check that. But let's have a look at the video. It's quite a fun video, I think. But let's see if you can see it. Can you see my screen well?
Yes.
Oh, great, cool. And we'll watch the video. Let me just check the the settings aren't coming up. Oh, maybe they are. Sorry.
People actually.
Oh, it's very. Now the person has a very strong accent. I have to tell you, quite a strong accent, and I'll slow it down a bit, but we can stop it. And because it's interesting, I think I was telling you that in England we have so many accents. Do you have many regional accents in Taiwan?
Yes, we have the south part and the north part, different a little bit.
Oh, okay. But is it easy for you to understand the south and the north?
Yeah, I can distinguish it.
Oh, okay.
I can separate, but normally you can understand what are they talking about.
Oh, okay. Because
they use a different word.
Oh, okay. Well, the same in England, but we have many, many regional accents. In the past, before there was so much travel, there was a really, really different regional accents. When I was a child, it would have been impossible for me to understand some people from different parts of England.
Even they speak English.
Yes. Well, in fact, I can remember I was once, when I first came to London, I was on a bus and there were 2 girls in front of me. And I thought, oh, I wonder which country they're from. And I was listening to them talking. They were quite young. And then slowly I realized they were speaking English, but they were speaking they were from Tyneside. It's an area near Newcastle, and Tyneside. And it's an area in the north near Scotland. The accent is very distinctive. It's very beautiful. The sound of the voice is very beautiful. But people who speak with a strong Tyneside accent, it's almost, if you don't know how to listen to it, it's almost impossible to understand. So all the words they are English, but they all sound different because the way the mouth works is very, very different.
So close to Irish.
Yeah, a bit close to, well, more close to Irish and Scottish as well. But not,
Scottish also different. I know.
yeah, also different. But there are many, many regional accents, like the southern England, and also there are accents to do with class, and it sounds crazy, to do with money. You know, if you, and school. If you go to a, if you went to a, I expect you might have heard the expression posh. Oh, sorry, posh. Posh. Do you know this word? It's like posh. It's a strange word.
Posh.
It says elegant or luxurious, but it also means, it's slightly derogative term. It's a slightly, it says, if you say to someone, oh, you're a bit posh, that means they've sort of got money, but they've also slightly changed their personality because they've got money.
I got what you mean. Okay.
Yes, so it does have a sort of connotation that it's not so good. It doesn't necessarily mean upper class. It just means, perhaps, for instance, someone who has changed their life, and
they got the money, but they don't have the style for the high class.
Yeah, exactly. They might have, or they might have bought the style. They might have bought all the style, you know.
Yeah, lots of people.
Yeah, I've met people like that. You know, they might have the right handbag. They might have a Chanel handbag, amazing clothes, in the perfect house, but they're not really, well, they don't come originally from that class, but they also look down on people who wouldn't have that money sometimes.
Yes, I understand.
Their attitude is like, oh, you're poor. I couldn't, you know, and sadly
that's very disgusting. I don't like people.
Exactly. Well, that still slightly happens in England.
Oh, so that means posh.
Yes, and how people distinguish it is often by the way you speak.
Yeah,
so someone,
you can tell because the education, the background of your education and your family give you different thoughts.
Yes, exactly. But now, luckily, over the last 25 years, it's changing. And so originally, for instance, on our television shows, we would have, it was called BBC pronunciation.
Oh, so that is the correct pronunciation, right?
Well,
BBC.
it was called received pronunciation.
BBC received pronunciation.
Or just received pronunciation. Actually received, it was like a sort of a BBC English, or which is the British Broadcasting, and received pronunciation. When you hear it now, it sounds hilarious. It sounds so removed from easy English. It was almost like how people learned to do it was that they would put marbles in their mouth, and so their mouth didn't open, and then they'd speak through their lips, and it sounds a bit like this. It's like sort of like, it sounds almost like you don't open your mouth, you're not expressing yourself. Some people say that the Queen speaks like that. Our Queen speaks a bit like that, but she used to. I think her accent has changed. But anyway, so we have these different accents, and I love them. I mean, they're very warm, some of the accents. They're very charming, and I know a lady from Tyneside, and when you meet her, her voice is so welcoming. You know, she's got a really friendly, open voice. It's not at all a voice, but whereas I also know people who've got a posh voice, and it's quite forbidding and not welcoming. It's a sort of stay there.
I think that relates to the personality.
Yes, yeah, it's very true. One time we should do, I think I'll suggest that I can do a talk on accents and play you lots of different versions of accents from England. It's really fascinating, and definitely from the past. It's, you know, I can remember people speaking in a really strange way. But let's go with the cheese rolling and see where we go. And the video is quite short, so hopefully you'll be able to understand it.
You're from, you say, oh, broccoli. Everyone knows about cheese rolling.
It's interesting. This man's accent, he comes from Somerset, I think. It's Gloucestershire. No, it's Gloucester, this area, Gloucestershire. It's a
Okay.
county in England, Gloucestershire. Gloucestershire.
Sure.
Yes, yeah, it's a county. And
Gloucestershire.
let's get that up a bit higher. I can show it to you. Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire.
Yeah, it's an area, and see if I can make it sound. Oh, it's
Gloucestershire.
Okay, Gloucestershire.
I don't know what playing. It won't play in Chinese.
I know.
Yeah, it's an area, and this area is in Gloucester is called Cooper's Hill, and the cheese that they roll is a reddish cheese, and it's called Double Gloucester. Double Gloucester
Okay.
cheese. And that's,
Gloucester.
yeah, and it's and this man's accent is quite beautiful, and it's from Gloucester, so I can hear it, I think.
If people ask where you're from, you say, oh, Brockley. No one knows where Brockley is.
It's interesting because that's not, it says broke laughs. It's because they can't get the word he's saying, and he's actually saying, I think, brocken. I think he's actually saying the word, it doesn't say, let me check, it's not in the text, but I think he's actually saying the place he lives is a place called Brocken, which he's pronouncing Brocken, which sounds like like broken laughs. I'll check that is the right place, but it's quite interesting actually. His accent's lovely. But so you can see they've got the cheese, so it's not broke laughs, it's Brocken, he's saying.
Okay.
Everyone knows about cheese rolling. It's real good. It's part of broccoli. So.
Broccoli.
No, that's wrong as well. It's part of broccoli. It's not, that's the wrong word as well, because they can't, the translation can't hear it. He's saying brocken again.
Oh,
and,
okay,
and broccoli is a vegetable.
I
So,
know.
I mean, yeah, so it's because his accent, oh no, it's Brockworth actually.
Okay.
He's actually not
Brockworth.
Brockworth, England, yeah. It's very hard to hear it. He's actually saying, I'll put that in, it's Brockworth, which is in Gloucestershire.
Yeah, the accent is very high.
Very strong, yeah, it's very strong. It's
Strong.
it's a local accent. It's we
Okay.
call it a regional accent, a regional accent. It's very beautiful. Yeah, Brockworth. Let's play a bit more video.
Everyone that I know from Brockworth who can get there will be there.
Yeah, every time you see the word broccoli or brock
I know.
something, he's saying Brockworth. It's
I've been up there watching since I was 4. But then as you get older, obviously you decide whether you're taking more part in it, more of an active role. So I stand at the top in a big hat.
Oh.
And
the man speaking is this man. That is him speaking. He organizes it.
Okay.
He's organizing it.
Tell people what they can and can't do at the top of the hill. I look forward to it. It's a good day. Christopher.
Interestingly, his accent, he's blurring the words. So even like he uses the word cause. He said, "'cause it's a good day." He's really saying because it's a good day, but he's not saying all those words. It's a beautiful accent actually.
Listen, he's well known to be the best cheese roller. I think he's found his niche in life. He's incredibly good at cheese rolling.
I'm Chris Hansen, and I've won the cheese rolling 20 times. If I win this year, then I'll have the highest record anyone's ever had. It's a local thing, and the villagers all like to have someone from the village win the event, so just trying to keep it going.
Interestingly, he also uses the words, he doesn't pronounce the TH sound, So instead of saying thing, he says thing. He says F
Oh.
as in family, and that is quite an occurrence in regional accents. Often you don't get people pronouncing the actual sounds depending on where they come from in the country. So he's
Mhm.
saying thing rather than thing.
Going for the village.
It's a very steep hill. You stand at the top. You think about, why on earth am I doing this? And somebody counts, 1 to be ready, 2 to be steady, 3 for the cheese, 4 to be off. You chase the cheese, you stand up and you fall. And you get up and you fall. And you get up and you hope that someone isn't falling into you. And by the time you're at the bottom, you're just glad it's over.
It's interesting. This lady has won it many times. She's one of the best. I've seen her being interviewed on television, and she's really good at it because she manages to roll and run at the same time. So she gets there faster than the men many
Mhm.
times. Yeah, many times.
Big thing, big bragging rights if you win it.
I think I win it because I get up and I run as fast as I can. Not a lot of people have the balls to run down. But you've got to have a sort of total disregard for yourself.
The reason why people still do cheese rolls, identity, is what broccoli is. It's part of broccoli. There's always.
Remember, it's not broccoli.
Yeah.
What they're saying is that the cheese rolling tradition, it's part of the town's DNA, if you like. It's been done for so many years, perhaps 200 years, that it's part of the nature of the town, and so it becomes the nature of the people because it's connected to the town. It's a sort of ancient tradition that goes back a long way.
So the winner is that they actually running from the top of the steep hill.
Yes,
They're not really falling down.
no, well, it doesn't matter if they fall or run. It's just the first person to get to the bottom.
But I think if you're rolling down, you won't be able as fast as
That's
they
right.
running down.
Running, you're right. And he does a mixture. But I think the thing is with this man, he knows the route. So some of it is very steep, so you have to roll. Then it becomes more level and you can run, and then you roll, and then you run, like he did in the video.
Okay.
And also it gives him a sort of position in the town, if you like. He becomes a local celebrity.
Yes, because he win like 20 times.
Yeah, so that's why it's quite special for him to do it. I think it's quite lovely.
It's like there's nowhere else in the world there's cheese rolling, but there's people all over the world who comes to watch cheese rolling. Cheese rolling is brilliant.
Cheese rolling is brilliant.
Yeah, he says cheese rolling is brilliant. So I mean, it's sort of true. It is lovely. It is lovely. I haven't been there. Gloucestershire is very beautiful, a very, very beautiful county. But yeah, it's quite interesting actually. Very interesting. But I'm looking at the time, so I think we're going to go on to the next one, if that's okay. Do you have any more questions about the cheese rolling?
Actually, no, but I know that is the it's one of the fun things they do for their region.
That's right. With many, we have so many old traditions in England. There are so many. The next one I'm going to show you it's a very old video, but it's in a town called Hastings, which is absolutely a beautiful town.
Yeah.
Hastings, it's on the coast, and it's an old fishing port, very old fishing port, and they still have boats that go out every day to the sea to catch the fish, and they sell the fish, and you can buy the fish from the boats in the afternoon, and the fish is great. It's very fresh. I have been there. In fact, I'm going there with my mum and my sister in 2 weeks. So Hastings, and also what's interesting, Hastings is famous. It has some cliffs, steep cliffs. You know, like a cliff is like an area of land.
Yes, we have cliffs in the east.
Exactly. So it has cliffs, but they are so steep. Some part of the town is on the top of the cliff, and the other part is down by the sea. And so what they did over 100 years ago, they needed to do something to help the people who lived at the top get down to the sea. So they built something which is really amazing, and it's called this. I don't know if you know this word. It's quite a strange, I'm sorry. It's quite a strange word. Funicular.
Funicular, like a gondola, right?
Like a what, sorry?
Gondola.
Gondola.
Yeah, in Taiwan we have this funicular, but they call it gondola. I don't know why.
A funicular is a railway. It's a railway rather, on a mountain or a hill.
Yeah, we have.
I'm sure you have them. It's like a cable, but it's powered by water.
Oh, it's powered by water.
Yeah, it's not electric.
How do you do?
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'll show you. I'll show you one actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's powered by water. Yeah, so it's let me just get it up. Funicular, yeah, that's it. And this is the image. I'll just get some images. So can you see the screen?
Yes.
So basically, it's very steep, and it's very cheap to go. There are two carriages, only two carriages, and you can get about 20 people in each. And basically, it works on gravity. You know, gravity, where basically how it works is this. Works by gravity, powered by water and gravity.
Okay.
So basically, they basically have two carts which are connected by a wire, and so when people get in at the top, it pushes the bottom one up.
Oh, okay.
It pulls.
That's a smart way.
Yeah, it's really great because it doesn't require any electricity.
Yes.
So it works. But also, what they do is they can put water into the bottom of the cart underneath, pump water, so it basically makes the cart at the top heavier than the cart at the bottom and move up. So say no one is in the top cart, but there's people in the bottom cart. The gravity, the weight of the water moves the cart. So they always pass each other in the middle.
Oh.
And then they continue, and it just goes up. And it costs about £2 each journey, but it's very quick, and it's easy to get from the top of the cliff to the bottom of the cliff without walking down all the stairs.
Yes.
For the local people, and the west lift, this and the east lift. That's the west lift. It's been there for over 100 years. So it's
smart, and you save the energy.
Yeah. they have been repairing it recently, but hopefully, and they have two, one on the east cliff and the west cliff, and
Oh, okay.
they're both beautiful, but
Mhm.
fun to go on. So Hastings is interesting, but one of the traditions they have in Hastings is the blessing of the waters. And as I was saying, they have, and this is an old film from 1949. When the boats go out to catch the fish, each year they have a special service for blessing the sea, to say that they want to bring more fish. It's
Mhm.
an ancient tradition, and very lovely. So I've got some footage, and I've also got a little bit of music I thought I'd play with it, which is also inspired by the sea, because this is actually silent actually. And the music is by a great composer, and his name is it's called it's from an opera called Peter Grimes. I'll just share this with you, might be interested. And it's called Sea Interludes. And it's a lovely piece of music. And it's by an English composer called Benjamin Britten, who's very famous. And it's beautiful. So I'll play the video because it is silent, and then I'll put the music on as well. I'll put the music on first. Hopefully you can hear the music. Interesting. I'll just show you something. It's very, for me, it's very interesting footage because, oh, this is, by the way, that's the top of the lift. You know, the funicular that I was showing you. That's the east lift, where it ends. But these buildings, I don't know if you can see them. Can you see? What do you think those buildings are? Can you guess? They're very small. They're very small and they're very tall. What they are is for the fish. That's where the fishermen store their nets when they go fishing, and they have to hang the nets out to dry. And they're special fishermen's huts. And also, if they smoke the fish, they would, to dry the fish.
Yeah.
dry the fish in those as well. But also, what's interesting for me, I don't know if you can see, Hastings was quite a poor town. It wasn't a rich town. And if you look at the faces of the children, many of the children's clothes are very simple. And, you know, they're almost quite worn clothes. I mean, I know this is old. This is from 1949, but you can see the life of the people who lived near the coast in England at that time, and still is sometimes very hard, you know, and they would rely on the fish to eat. You know, they wouldn't have had any other money to buy, so they could have only ever bought fish. And so the fishermen, if they didn't catch anything, the people would starve.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, so it's quite.
So the music is kind of sad. I don't know what kind of instrument they played.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's very moving music. It's I think it's violins. There, it's stringed instruments, and also I think it's it might be an instrument called a cor anglais. It's worth listening to. It's 4 interludes. They last 17 minutes, but they're very beautiful. It's from an opera, and they became very, very famous, these pieces of music. And when you listen to that, it is quite sad music, but I think it goes quite well with the beach and the music and the blessing of the thing. I'll play a bit more of the thing. Put the music back on.
Because the voice is too sharp, I cannot figure it is valid. I saw it's like a flute or something else.
It might be. No, that is strings. That is like very, very fine violin strings at the top end, but also with brass instruments as well, like trumpets. I think this is trumpets.
No trumpet.
Very beautiful music. I'll play a bit more of the video. It's only got a minute to go.
The ceremony is a lot different from our side. From Taiwan, we also have this kind of fisherman ceremony, but it's totally different.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Also, they are in a life, just to tell you, they are in a boat. This boat is the boat that they send out to rescue people if they get into a lifeboat. It's called a lifeboat, and so if there's a problem at sea, you know, say a boat gets into distress, they send out the boat to rescue them, and so the man is in the lifeboat.
Okay. In Taiwan, we are burning one kind of ship, and to celebrate or to pray for the safe for the next trip.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. And is that burning? Is it burning the boat to pray for the fishermen? Is it for the
burning bird? The burning ship is they made by paper, not the real.
Oh, okay.
Or made by wood.
That's interesting, because we do have a long ago, the Vikings burnt boats, and yeah, about 1,000 years ago in England, people would burn boats with bodies on and sell them. It's a very old Nordic tradition from Scandinavia, which they did in England. But no, I suppose they wouldn't burn the boats here because everything is so precious, because they're so poor. They could never burn boats. They would just repair them. Yeah, and these are more of the fishermen's huts. These are huts where they would, like in the roof, they would dry the fish on racks. So they would haul it up and it would rest in the top of the roof, or they would dry their nets. And these are, what's interesting with Hastings, these are all still there. You can, when you visit today, it still looks like this. Now it's got a lovely character. It's a beautiful town. They have other modern things as well, but they still have the old things.
So is the fish chips come from here too?
Yes, one of the, yes, you can buy great fish and chips there as well, and it's very fresh. Many places sell fish and chips, and you can literally buy it on the seafront. So you just go
Because
to.
in Taiwan, we eat a lot of fish and fresh fish. So
Oh, yeah.
when I went to England like many years ago, I want to have a fresh fish soup. It's very
Oh.
hard to find it.
Yes, no, we don't have many traditions of fish soup here. No, it's more, that is more of a traditional Asian cuisine that you get in a few places now.
Yeah.
No, we have always fried our fish with.
Yeah, I know. Every store is like fish chips. Fish
Yeah,
chips.
but some is very bad. I have to tell you, some is
I know. I don't
really
eat that. I can't eat that.
No. The best places, it's the time of day you go. So the best time to go is 5 o'clock when they first cook, because then it's
Oh,
very fresh.
okay.
And the batter is very fresh as well. So it tastes very good. And they make the batter fresh. But if you go like in the afternoon, you would get the fish from lunchtime, which has been sitting for an hour or 2 hours.
That will have different smell.
Yeah, and it tastes very dry then.
I know.
But
We are very picky. We are very
yeah,
picky.
no, I agree with you. No, I agree. I don't eat fish and chips very much. But last year in Hastings, I had some really good fish and chips. I was surprised. It was great. Very fresh. And we were sitting outside and it was really, really good. What you have to watch out for now with fish and chips is the seagulls. You know, it's a big bird and they literally will swoop down and take everything away.
Oh, okay.
And you really have to be careful, because I've seen them pick up. Well, there's footage you can see of them picking up small animals.
I know. In Vancouver, they did the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the same.
Vancouver has a Granville Island. There's a lot of seabird.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's many words, but we call them seagulls. I'll put that in the thing. Seagulls. Seagulls, and there's many types of seagulls, many different varieties in England, but they're big and they're very aggressive.
And they're very loud.
Yeah, very loud. And even now they have spread to England. Without the sea, they live. For instance, they live in London. Where I live, there are two who nest on a building across the street, and they're so loud in the morning when they're nesting and bringing babies. They're like, wah, wah, wah. You know,
Yeah,
you can
very
we'll
loud.
wake you up. Yeah, we'll wake you up. Oh, sorry, I just play a bit more of the Blessing of the Waters. Put the music back. Oh, sorry, I've got a poem. Stop that. It's an advert. I can go back. But it's lovely footage, I think, of old England. This. Oops,
These are the Verbo.
Stop. Now let me go on to the poem. It's called Sea Fever by a poet called John Masefield, and Sea Fever. It's such a great title. Sea Fever. It will play.
Sea fever.
Sea fever. Yeah, it means like fever. You understand the word fever?
Yes.
Yeah. So sea fever is like a feeling. It's not really a thing. It's not a real feel. It's not a real fever. It just means the feeling you have when you go to the sea. And I'll read the first line. I'll read the first line. Maybe you could read the second line.
Okay.
I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky. Do you want to read the next one?
Okay. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer hereby.
Steer
To
means
steer her by.
control the ship. Steer.
Oh, okay. Still.
Steer. It's a great word. It's a word used. It's not a very common word, actually. Steer. It
Yeah.
means, you know, like in a car, when you have the wheel, you steer the car. But
Okay.
also, what they mean in this poem is steer. That he's asking for a tall ship, like a ship with a long sail, a long mast. But
Mhm.
also, you know where to go in a ship by looking at the stars. So
Oh, okay.
you
So
guide the ship, follow
you
the
change
stars.
the direction and follow the star.
Yes, you read the stars. You see the North Star, and then
Okay.
and it's beautifully a very romantic poem. And the next line is, and the wheels kick, and the wind's song, and the white sails shaking. Where the wheels kick is the wheel that you control the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Old days, and they used to go very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't strong, it would hit you. You could, you know. So he's talking about the wheels kick, and the wind's song is the noise that the wind makes
Mm-hmm.
at sea. And talking about a sailing ship, so it's the sail.
So the
Yeah,
cells.
the noise. So it's very evocative, very
Yes.
very evocative. Do you want to read the next line?
And a gray mist on
Yes.
the sea's face, and
Yes.
a gray dawn breaking.
Yeah. So he's talking about almost being up all night on the sea
Mm-hmm.
and on the ship, holding onto the wheel, and the grey, and as it gets light, the mist comes in off the sea mist, and it's grey, and the dawn is grey. So it's not a sunny day. It's just a very powerful, you know. I'll read the next line.
I can see the picture.
Yeah, it's a very romantic poem. I must go down to the seas again for the call of the running tide. And what he means is, you know, the noise that the sea makes when it goes in and out on a beach.
Yeah.
That sort of like, you know, that's what he's talking about. Do you want to
It's
read the next?
It's a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied.
Yeah, he's sort of saying that the sound of the sea is really powerful and wide, and when you hear it, you have to respond to it. I think if you're ever near a beach and you can't see the beach, but you can hear the sound of the beach,
Yes.
it makes you want to go and look.
Yeah.
You have to see it. And I'll read the next line. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying. And he means that when it's windy by the sea, the clouds go across the sky very quickly. This is a harder line to explain, but do you want to have a go at it? The next line.
Okay. And the flaggy spray, flung
spray.
Flung spray and the blown
spoon.
And the tea goose crying.
And the seagull. Well, the easy bit of that to understand is we've got the seagulls crying, making that noise of like, oh, you know, the seagull.
Oh, the seagulls crying.
Seagulls crying. So it's the noise of the birds, but also the spray, the flung spray. You know, when the sea hits something, and it makes that all the white edges in the sea spray up. And they call it, and the blown spume. It's such an old word, that spume. It's an ancient word. Yeah, it's an ancient word. It's a beautiful word. I don't know if it will even give me a translation. It might do. I'll have a look, see what it says. I'll explain it a bit. It might let me translate it. Spume. Let's have a look. It's a lovely. Yes, it does actually. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's froth or foam from the sea.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like at the edge of the water in the sea, you get the white foam.
Yeah, I understand
and
that.
Sometimes when it hits something, the foam comes up into the air.
Yeah.
That is spume.
Mm.
It's a beautiful word. And it's so very, very much about the sea. It's and I tell you, not many English people would know that word.
Yeah, because it's very similar to spoon.
Yes, it sounds like spoon. It does sound like spoon, but it's a very romantic, poetic word.
Okay, spoon.
Yeah, and he says, and the flung spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. So you can imagine he's standing by the beach, listening to the gulls. The winds, the sea comes up. He sees the foam. So I'll read the next line. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life. And what he's saying is, a vagrant is a bit of an ambiguous term now, but it's not vagrant. It's not particularly a nice word now, but in those days, it means someone who would wander about, someone who didn't have a fixed job. So, and it goes along with gypsy. He's using it to really talk about freedom. He's saying that the life of the people who work near the sea, sometimes they would travel from port to port, to coast to coast. They weren't stuck in an office, but he's writing about this from someone who is stuck in an office. Yeah, so he's imagining a freer life. Let's go to the next line.
Okay, to
yes.
the
gulls
the
way,
gulls?
the seagulls, the gulls way. Yeah.
The gulls way and the whales way, where the wings like a whetted knife.
Whetted knife, yeah. That's another really old word, wetted.
Whetted knife.
Wetted knife. Yeah, wetted. Let's see if it says wetted. Let's see.
Okay.
It's not going to speak. Let me speak. Wetted. Well,
Like
basically, yes. Well, it means wetted. Yeah, it's used in this context. Wetted knife. They go together. He says that the wind is like a wetted knife.
Oh yeah, the wing is very sharp.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he means. When a knife is wet and it has been polished, it's very sharp.
Yeah.
And the wind by the sea is like, it can really cut into you. You know, it's like.
Toronto, we call wind chilly because it's very sharp.
Yeah, exactly. Wind chilly, exactly like that. It's a very evocative and descriptive word. So he's like saying to the seagull's life and the whale's life, where the wind is like a wetted knife. And then he says, and all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover. Well, merry, you know that word? Merry, which means happy. I don't know if you'll know this word, yarn.
Yarn, we use a lot in textile.
Yeah, yarn, it's got double meaning. Yarn is textile, but also yarn means a story.
Story.
Yeah, a story told by someone.
Oh, okay.
So a spoken story, which maybe isn't true, or isn't like a tale that's not true. It's not history. It's
like a fairy tale.
Yeah, or sort of like a story. Like, for instance, you could imagine, and that's why he says from a laughing fellow rover. Now, a rover applies to the man up there, the vagrant. A rover is a person who travels about, roves the countryside. So he's saying, all I want to hear is a laughing story from a fellow traveler who's sitting by the sea and say, oh, last year there was a big whale we saw on the coast, you know. So not necessarily a true story.
Okay.
He's just saying, I want to hear that because it's so powerful in my imagination. Do you want to read the last line?
And quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick is over.
Yeah, the long trick is over. It's trick is he's using trick as in a journey or a story or a piece of travel. It's a strange word, trick, because that's not really what trick means, but I think he's using that in an artistic way. But it's a beautiful poem because it's very much about the sea. I think it was written about just over 100 years ago. I don't know what year it was written, but I think about 1910, 1920. And he was the poet laureate. He was like the national poet, John Masefield. He wrote some very beautiful poems.
This poem can show you the picture.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, Grace, exactly. And that's what's so lovely about poetry. I mean, your English is great, so you can understand that, which is why I wanted to share it with you, because
Thank you.
it
That is
paints
lovely.
it paints a picture in your head.
Yes,
Doesn't you know,
it describe the things you can understand.
from the sea, exactly, and especially with the wind and the and he starts off on the boat, but also what he's saying is he's not at the sea at the moment, so he's saying I must go down to the sea again.
Uh-huh.
He's saying I mean you almost feel he's like living in a city, a big city, and he wants to go back to the sea. And he says the lonely sea and the sky. And the other thing is with this, I think, which is very good, when you go to a coast in England, sometimes you get very big skies. In cities, you see a small piece of the sky because
Yeah.
you've got
I understand.
buildings,
Just
know.
like we go to the east part of Taiwan, you can see the sea.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely some parts of England on the coast where I come from originally, which I was born by the sea, the skies are really big and the land is very flat. So
Mhm.
you feel very small in nature. You feel nature has great power. And so that's what he's saying. He's saying, I want to go back to this feeling of nature, and I want to see the tall ship, and I want to be there, and I want to feel all these emotions. And it's almost like saying, with all this, I can be refreshed. I think he's saying it will give my soul, it will feed my soul, basically, this poem.
Yeah, because one of my best friend, he come from the east part of Taiwan. He
Oh,
always is saying that I must go back to my
yeah,
home and see because he come from the seaside, so
exactly.
he loves to go back to see the
Yeah.
sea.
It's very powerful. I mean, for me as well, when I go back and to where I come from by the coast, even though there are now many people, when I was a child, we lived literally on the beach, and I had a dog, and my youngest sister and I would walk out, and the sea went out a long way. It was very flat, and you could walk out for about almost half a mile, and
Wow,
with our dog, and our dog would be running about the beach, and
that's nice. That's
it was
really
very,
nice.
very beautiful. I was very lucky to live there for about 6 years when I was young, when I was between 6 and 12. And it was,
Nice. I know
yeah,
that's nice.
but now it's much more built up, sadly. There's many more buildings. So, I
Mhm.
mean, that's how it is. I'll just stop sharing with you for a moment. And well, thank you sorry, come back. Thank you so much for coming today, Grace.
Thank you for sharing me the sea.
No, it's interesting, and I just thought it was nice to share that with you
Yeah,
because reading poetry is a good way to practice English.
yeah.
And
There is a movie called Postman.
oh, okay.
Postman, because it's written about a poetry man
Oh, okay.
so you can go
I
to
will look
see
it
that
up.
movie.
Is it an American film, or is it
Yeah,
a
the Postman 邮差，等一下邮差。
oh,
Yeah,
don't
you don't know that.
no, I don't know the movie because we haven't had many movies because of lockdown. I think we've been slow in getting, the new movies.
Oh, okay. That is a quite famous movie.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Well, don't worry. If you can't find it today, next time we speak,
Okay, I will tell you.
show me. Yeah, you can show me. That'd be interesting because I think what's good with poetry, like you and Chloe is also good at reading poetry, and I think probably Weston would be as well. That it's a great way to talk about ideas and practice, and
Yes.
and also it's once you get the picture in your head, it's very powerful. It's like it makes connections, I think. So
Okay.
I think
I
that's
will
really
tell you the movies then next time.
great. Well, thank you very much. I think on Thursday we're talking about art. Yeah, we're going to do the one on art. So so if you're free, that'd be lovely because we can talk about our favorite paintings. And I've
Okay.
got one to share with you. But if you'd like to think of what your favorite art is, and we can look it up and we can talk about it. That would be
Okay.
great. That would be great.
Okay.
Take
Thank
care
you.
of yourself. Lovely to see you, Grace. Have a
You
good
too.
evening. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.